just like the differences I've found between living here in Hawaii and also in the Midwest, because I grew up in Kentucky and I went to college in Ohio and lived along the Ohio River pretty much most of my life, just going back and forth. So I consider that kind of like the Midwest, a little bit of Southern thrown in there. But we'll talk about the different things. So I have 10 things that I've listed here on my phone. I'm just going to talk about them. So the first one is obviously number one, beaches. So here in Hawaii, obviously we have like some of the best beaches in the world. You can go to them pretty much. I mean, I live maybe 10 minutes from a beach, so I can just get in the car and go whenever I'm feeling like it and if the weather is good. And usually the weather is pretty good. And then obviously in Kentucky and Ohio, we don't have beaches. Not that I know of. Anyway, maybe there's one that's a beach, but it's not the same thing. So definitely a plus, I feel like, there. But Ohio and Kentucky are definitely beautiful in their own way. Don't get me wrong. Number two, leading from that question, beautiful in your own way, seasons. Number two, seasons. So here in Hawaii, there's not really seasons as we know them, like spring, summer, fall, winter, all that stuff. Yeah. So here in Hawaii, it's more like it's summer and then a winter season. So summer is beautiful weather like you would expect, gorgeous, hot, kind of humid, but usually pretty good. I live on the windward side of the island, so that's more where we get a lot more rain. But then on the leeward side, it's where it's a lot more dry, so they don't have as much rain as in Kaneohe, which is where I live. But then in the mainland, on the mainland in Kentucky and Ohio, obviously there are seasons. There's legit spring, legit summer, legit fall, legit winter. And that's something I really miss about living on the mainland. I especially miss fall. Fall was my favorite just because all the layers, all the beautiful colors on the trees, difference in temperature. I love when it's like not too hot but not too cold. It's right in the middle. That's what I like. Number three. So this is a big one and it's kind of broad, but I'm gonna throw it in here. So number three is multiple cultures. So growing up in Kentucky and Ohio, there's not too many cultures that I grew up around. As you can see, I'm kind of white and it was a lot of white people doing a lot of the same stuff. Maybe there was some Latino people from Mexico, most likely. Yes, there were some African American people, but not a lot. Majority was just white people, and we did the same stuff all the time. Didn't meet too many other people from different races other than those that I mentioned. Maybe a couple of Asian people here or there. But then moving out here, white people are like the minority. So I live in Hawaii and there's a lot of Polynesian cultures, Tahitian, Samoan, there's some Asian, obviously a lot of Asian culture. We're close to Japan, so there's a lot of Japanese people here, Filipino people here, Chinese, Korean, so many different cultures there. There's some African population here, and then also obviously like tourists. There's so many tourists that come by, so you meet people from Australia, from Scotland, from England a lot of the time, from Canada, met some, just from all over the place. So, and that is just a really big plus that's helped me, I think, grow as a person and accepting other people from who knows where they could be from, but they're still people and they're awesome. So that's been a really good thing about living here. Number 4 is living space. I grew up in Kentucky, like I said, in Ohio, and there's lots of flat land wherever you go. You can go to somebody's house and then the next person is like 5 to 10 miles away. There's just space. Here, no. People are like stacked on top of each other. So the smallest apartment I lived in had 2 bedrooms. They were still very small, shared a bathroom, had like a small kitchen that was also like combined with the dining space, but we also called the bathroom the shower. It was so small, we called it like it was blue tile. We called it the blue coffin because it was literally just, you had barely enough space to like move. You could not like bend over to get soap or something. So like if you had to bend over, you had to like have your head out of the shower, bend over, grab your thing, and would do whatever. I don't know. So yeah, there's that. So now this is the biggest space that we've actually lived in here. So that's been really nice. But yeah, a lot of people share family housing, so multiple families will live in the same house. So generations, grandma, grandpa, kids, grandkids, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunties, everywhere, just to like save money. And living space also is hard to find place to rent. Hawaii is one of the most expensive places to live, along with California and New York. It's literally up there. It's so small, but it's up there because everybody wants to live here because it's so beautiful. So yeah, it's really expensive. Number 6. This is something I'm learning more about every single day, but here in Hawaii I feel like there's a culture of preserving the land, obviously mixed in with everything else that's going on too, but just like trying to preserve the aina, the land, and nature, and having a respect for nature. That's something that I didn't really grow up with. Not that we didn't care about like recycling and stuff, but it's just, I feel like it's much more important and poignant here because you can actually see like what nature really could be, how beautiful it is, instead of just surrounded by homes and other people and businesses and stuff. So yeah, just trying to be healthier too is another thing that's different about living in Hawaii versus on the mainland. Just respect for the land, respect for your body as your person, is just like another level over here. So that's helped teach me a lot and change a lot of the things that I do, so I can just have more respect for those things and for myself. Let's see. This one's funny to me. But yeah, so big city to small town, like proximity, how close they are to each other. So here in Kaneohe, it's kind of like suburban area, like small town, not exactly small town, but just like everybody, a lot of people know each other. It's a really small area. We're close to each other. And then 30 minutes away, you have the capital city, Honolulu, which is this huge, big city with skyscrapers and giant restaurants and all the shopping from all over the world. It's just, it's super close to each other, but so separate. When I was growing up in Kentucky and Ohio, like we lived in a small town. I was literally like down the road from like a horse farm, and like across the street was like a tobacco farm, I think, area, and it took 20 minutes to get to school in the morning. So living far away from places, like I said before, that's normal. But then we would have to drive like an hour and a half, 2 hours to get to a big city. So that's a really big difference for me. Like it's very much separated, while here they're kind of, even though they're like right next to each other, they are separated in a way, but they're still like connected. You can easily go from one to the other without too much difficulty. So this one's kind of a sad one, but homelessness is one that I've encountered a lot here. Not so much in Kentucky and Ohio. From when I was growing up, we were really separated from that. To see a homeless person, I feel like would have been very rare. But here, it's like almost an everyday thing. People with mental illnesses, or who have just run out on their luck, or there's so many stories about how they have become homeless or something. But there's growing ways to help take care of them, but it's not at the rate it needs to be to take care of all of them. But it's a thing that's a real thing here, and it can be scary at times, it can be weird at times, it can be really hard to deal with at times, but just continue praying for them, and we help them when we can and where we can, by giving food, by giving money, by directing them to other places where they can get like shelters if they need to. But yeah, that's a thing here. Next, this one's one of my favorites, is food. I love food, and no, like, dissing on the mainland, there's lots of great food there, but where I was growing up, it was kind of like the same thing over and over, not too much differences, I guess. We had like some Mexican restaurants, some Chinese restaurants, which is like Chinese American food, which is like so different than actual Chinese food, but here in Hawaii, even in just Kaneohe, there's so many different restaurants and different places where you can experience so many different cultural and ethnic differences of food. So like literally alone I can think of at least 2 Thai restaurants, a Cajun restaurant, a multiple Chinese restaurants, an Italian restaurant, and that's just like in this little small town, along with all your other stuff like McDonald's and Denny's, and that stuff is still here too. People think it's not, but it is. It's totally here. And they have their own like things at McDonald's. They have like, oh my gosh, what is it? I can't even think right now, but haupia pies, like the little apple pies you could get, but it's like coconut, and then there's like taro pie, that's what it is. Hello. So like the purple root vegetable that's here. And it's cool how they incorporate that. But food here is so good. I've tried so many different things, met so many different people. We went to a Moroccan restaurant once too. That was amazing. So there's just so many different things, and there's no way we've tried them all yet, and we want to try more. So that's a goal we have. And then finally, number 10 is something I find funny, is clothing, work attire, and something here that's specific to Hawaii is called aloha wear. That's something that I found out working here. I mean, when I was moving here to come teach, my main job, like the reason I moved to Hawaii was so that I could teach music at the school that's literally behind me. I'm still living in the property owned by the church and school that I moved here to work at. So when I was moving here to work at this church and school, I felt like it was my first job out of college, so I felt like I didn't have too many like professional clothes. So me and my mom went to the store and we got like some professional black pants, some khaki pants, some like nicer tops, blah blah blah. My mom's been a teacher forever, and that's what I was coming here to do, so I asked her to help me, and she helped me find some clothes. And then I get here and I can wear like none of it because it's so hot. Like the first year I lived here, I think I sweat through my clothes every single day. It's so hot. But yeah, so learning how to deal with the tropical weather and be a professional clothing wise has there's some leeway there. I feel like I learned that lighter, flowier dresses with shorts underneath, because you're working with children, is a very important thing, or tights, something like that underneath. Super important, but they can't be like super tight or thick tights, because then it gets too hot and it's ridiculous. But then there's also this thing here called aloha wear, which it's kind of hard to explain, but it's a little bit more casual, but it can be really expensive at the same time. It's weird. But any like type of floral print on like for guys especially, like floral print shirts that are like short sleeve but still have a collar and are buttoned up, that's aloha wear, with usually like some khakis and some nice sandals or like dress shoes, and a belt too for guys. For girls, there's like more options. Usually aloha wear is like a flowy dress that's a little bit longer and has like the floral print or bright colors on it. So yeah, I've worn that multiple times for different occasions. Sometimes we do concerts with just aloha wear, and that's fun. But yeah, learning how to do professional wear here is very different than the mainland. On the mainland, I feel in Kentucky and Ohio, like doing it for school and stuff, we're much more buttoned up, much more like jackets and ties and slacks and like intense shoes and stuff. Not that you don't still see that here, but it's just, I feel like less frequent because it's so hot, and it's not like it's doable as much, I feel like, unless you're in an air-conditioned place, which also there's not a lot of air-conditioned like fully buildings. I feel like houses, a lot of houses don't have full air conditioning. Our school is not fully air-conditioned. Our chapel for our church is not fully air-conditioned at all. So it's just a different kind of culture. You leave the windows open and let the breeze come in, or you have a fan, so, or both, or more. So we do have an AC in this room, but we don't turn it on unless it's like super hot. But yeah, so that's my list. 10 things that are different between living on the mainland in Kentucky and Ohio, my experience, versus being here in Hawaii. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.
She may be the face I can't forget, a trace of pleasure I'll regret.